live? Oh, we are live. Hello! It is I, back again. So I've got some lenses finishing packaging that I'm gonna ship out tomorrow. Then I'll be working on some more lenses. So today I'm gonna be working on a lens cap for the lens here. I need it because the lens that I bought didn't come with it, so I'm gonna do that, and it shouldn't take too long. And then I'll get to doing some post-processing for the next batch of lenses. Currently reading this guy here. I guess if you can focus on it. Oh. There we go. Yeah, Transmetropolitan. This is book 1. I think it's 1 through 5 or 1 through 7, or issue 1 through 7. There are 5 books, so it's the first of 5, but the first of 7 issues, I think, maybe 12 issues. Started reading in college, but never got around to finishing it. So I needed, yeah. So like I said, today we'll be doing some designy work for a lens cap, so we can pop over here and let's start designing. Alright, so I'm going to take some measurements. This is I think like a 62 millimeter lens filter thread. Yes, it is 62. Alright. So, what we're going to do is we're going to 61 3.5 and then 65. $65 2.5. We're gonna cut it there, and then I would like a 62, so 31. Then I want a rectangle starting from the center. 18? 18 looks good. I want to trim some stuff. So, because I started watching The Last of Us, and I was waiting for something to watch, started watching Station 11, and I think it's a very, very good show. It's a great show. Mackenzie Davis and Himesh Patel, I think, are fantastic actors. That's what that is, so I can trim that, yes. Trim these two lines. And then that's what I'll do there. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to extrude 1.5, and then let's actually get another one in there. Doesn't really matter. Trim that. Then let's do 2. This will be 1.5. Actually, take a look at what I have here. Alright, 2, 2. Let's do. Alright, so what we need is, so that's 2, bring that out 2, and then that spline 2. Alright. Oops. Ah, I hate this mouse interface. Um, thread pitch. Hmm. But yeah, if you guys haven't watched Station 11, I think you guys should give it a shot. It's pretty good. I think the whole cast was fantastic. Do I sound a little lower today or quieter today? Do I need to adjust the levels? All right. So what I'm doing right now is looking at um, a thread pitch chart, trying to figure out how to properly define the pitch. Well, I'll just go on this then, whatever. So what I know is the filter threads usually have a 0.075 thread pitch, so we're gonna go from R to R, right? And that'll give us the pitch we need, so we can design our filter thread. And I'm gonna be pretty lazy with this because I'm not. Uh, right, because we don't really need to be exacting with a lens cap. So I'm just adding a plane, a construction plane. And I'm going to scale this up. Oops, that is not the scale. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it up. I'm going to scale it up uniform scale. Like that. That's going to bring us here. And where's the X-ray view, section view? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the threads from here. So so based on the diagram that we have here, I'm going to do 75, 75, 75, and I want to shoot for at least 3. So since this is 2, 75 times 3 is 1 point. Wow. It's actually going to be a load of 0.75. It's like 2 something, 2.5. Well, whatever. So we're gonna do that. Make another one. And then this one is gonna be cut off. So 60 degrees. So it is an equilateral triangle, right? Because it's 180 degrees within a triangle. 60, 60, 60 is 180. So it is an equilateral triangle. And I believe this should give me an equilateral triangle. Ugh. Alright, whatever. 0.75. I'm gonna construct it this way because I am unsure. Should be 60 degrees. I'm unsure if that's not right. I'm gonna draw that out. Which should give me the center point. And those should all be equilateral triangles. Let's check the angles on that. 60 degrees. Alright, so it's all equilateral triangles. What we're going to do from here is we're simply going to revolve it and then cut it out so we can get out a section view. You know, and ideally you'd have a twist to this if you were actually making metric threads, but we're not doing that. What we're doing is, can I just sweep it? Sweet. Yes, we're going to sweep it. That's going to give us the threads that lock into the lens cap. So let's delete those. Close that. I want to union these guys. And then we're going to take that out like that. And then I would like to sketch like a line. Why is it not letting me sketch? Oh, alright, whatever. Okay, this is strange. It is not letting me sketch. It's actually bothering me. Alright, and then we're going to knock this guy down. Negative 2. Then I'd like to get rid of that. And I think we'll call that 18 to give us a nice ridge to push on. No, it's a 20. I think that'll do. Alright. So we've got that mainly are going to make the keys. I'm gonna make it 2 by 2. And then we're gonna do that, so I can do this. Then I want to trim this. And I'm gonna take that, -2. Alright, so we've got the key for the spring. And then we're going to work on the body. So I'm going to turn, let me rename this real quick. So I'm going to work on the body. I'm going to turn that off, and I would like to do this. Honestly, I don't have to do this, but I'm going to. So we're gonna make this. Yeah, make it 3, 4. So we've got 2 for the this guy here. Let's connect that and connect that. And what I need to do is I need to cut out this middle section, so I'm going to select these guys, and we're going to drop it, -2, and then you can see how this is going to work if I turn on the lens latch. So we've got to cut out a section here. We can do that by clicking on that, turning that off. There we go. And then also over here, and then we can take that off. And then this sketch plane, what we're going to do is we're going to move it up here. And we're going to select that guy. Cut through, so we've got our dovetail cut. And then you can see it here. Let's delete that. That is pretty much the lens cap. What we're going to do is we're going to reduce this by -0.1 to give it a little breathing space. And then what I like to do on corners is, because you never get truly flat corners, is I add a chamfer, maybe like 0.5 millimeter. So that should be pretty, no. Right, so it's not 45, because 45s don't print correctly without supports. So what I usually do is just inset it a little bit and call it, yeah, maybe 0.5 millimeter. And that'll give us a shallower angle. So when we throw it on the 3D printer, it prints without supports, and I don't have to clean anything else up. Now I'll add that chamfer. And then we've got to do the same for this guy in here. that over 0.5. Alright, and then let's do the same over here. So I don't know how I feel about The Last of Us. Right now, I wasn't a fan of episode 2. The first episode was great. Alright, so I can't do that. Alright, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take these two angles. From 45 to 30. Yeah, so that's the one that's going to change now. So that's going to be 30. Alright, that'll be fine. Trim that off, trim that off, trim that off. Don't need that. Line. What do you call it? Yeah, The Last of Us. The Last of Us second episode. Not exactly what I thought it'd be. Alright, man, I really hate this PC interface. Let's turn that off. Turn that off. Delete that. Can't delete that. Can't delete that. Can't do that either. -2. Alright, alright. Whatever, we'll just close that up. So sometimes it's hard to remove these chamfers. I don't know how to do it effectively. So I will do it this way because line. I'm just gonna connect these two guys like that. I'm gonna take this and we're gonna slice into it, and then turn the lens latch back on and turn the cap body off. Cut that through. Delete that, delete that, and then we're going to do the same thing. Let's draw that out. Union. Done. Push that out, push that out. So the next thing, probably after this one, maybe tomorrow, the next thing I need to do to design is take a look at this guy. I'm not really using the magnifying glass anymore, but I do like the light, but its movement is restricted. So I have a line light that I have here that I'm probably going to design an adapter to mount in through here. And I'm going to rewire it for that line light and then have a hinge that rotates this way, like 30-60 degrees, so that I can get it to the places that I need. But that'll probably be tomorrow. So let's turn that guy on. This, I want to rename it to lens cap body. Lens cap latch. And then I do need to package the STLs. I have not forgotten. I also add a chamfer here. So yeah, I'm going to package up the STLs for the wiggle lens, and then I will be sending it off to the backers. Alright, do 0.5. And the chamfer here is because again, when you're printing, it's just easier to print. If you have issues with elephant's foot, it will typically resolve it for the most part. If you don't do it that way, printing becomes an issue. Alright, so I need to turn that off. Well, okay, printing doesn't become an issue. It's just, it's a little harder to print everything correctly. Because you'll have fitment issues if the base of your print is slightly larger because of the elephant's footing. And right, you'll have fitment issues because of that. Alright, so we needed to shave that off because that is... No, I lied, we don't need to shave that off. I just don't like how thick that is. Whatever. Let's put it back. Alright. So, we can build this guy up. And this is just to have wall strength. What I'm probably gonna do is shave some of the interior off here. Do 26. And I could take this, this and this, negative 1.5. Grab this edge, along with this edge, we're going to push it out 1.5, and that should give us some rigidity on the radius here and on this keyhole, or this dovetail, whatever you want to call it. And then we need to have a captive spring. All right. So we need the captive spring. And okay, that bothers me. That's why it looks so big. This is 30 millimeters. Alright, whatever, I'll do this later. I'd like to start it though, so give me a sec. So I'm usually using radiuses, but they want to use diameters, so 61. 62. And 65. That makes more sense. It looked way too thick for you know, whatever it was there. So let's bring that down. 4. And make that 30. And this is going to be inset to the 61, so we're going to go 1.5. Perfect. -1. We're going to actually raise that 0.5 up. Oh boy. All right. So, let's get the lens latch made because I messed up. Yeah, that works. I'm gonna turn the lens body off, and we're gonna drop that -2. We're gonna bring this to make a circle on that. 52 works for me. Drop that -2. 2. I'm gonna pull this out. 35. don't believe I need to do that, so since this is to 7.5. Pretty close to it. Drop that up. All right. God, this is so stupid. So stupid. Trim that. I want to check this, see what that is. That's 60. All right. And then we're going to sweep, sweep, sweep. Turn that off. More sweep. And I want to sweep this curve. We're going to union that. Right. So all I need to do here is bring this guy up, cut that, and we're going to cut that off. That looks good to me. That actually could go in a little bit more, probably a millimeter. Don't need it that thick. I'm gonna go here. What I want to do is do that, and I want this at a 30-degree angle because it's easier, but still gives me the it still gives me the ability to use a dovetail. Honestly, I think we could use something, I don't know, maybe a little more aggressive, but I like 30. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to extrude these out, and then I'm going to move the sketch over. So we're going to go up. And join that. And then I'm going to take that sketch and we're going to move it forward somewhere. So I think it's that one. Drop that up there somewhere. And then we're going to cut that. So I was, like I said, I'm starting the, what do you call it? Thingamabob with the thing. I'm starting a read-through of Garth Ennis's Transmetropolitan. I started it in college. I never got to finish it. And so far, I think it's good. These undercuts again are for elephant's foot, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that would work, right? If I just had blades that hit each other. Preload it so it keys in, snap. That's too much to think about right now, man. Way too much to think about. Alright. Yeah, we'll do 4x4. And then 5, that works, sure. I want to trim some things. And then we're going to pop a hole. There we go. Yeah, so we'll keep it simple because right now I'm trying to simplify lens cap design from something that takes like 4 parts to something that takes 3 parts. So all I'd have to worry about is the lens body, the lens latches, instead of lens body and latches and springs. Alright, so we're gonna pop that back in there. Negative 0.1. Alright, where am I? There we go. Negative 0.1. And I will take that back. Negative 0.12. Same with this guy. And this is all, I guess, tolerances, so that the key can slide easily. And then we're going to pop down on that. I think that's negative 2. Negative 2. Yeah, that is correct. Turn that off, and that off. Oh, okay. Let me adjust the levels there. How's this? Negative 2. Perfect. Perfect. And then I want to do a captive spring, so let's turn that one. Let's use this one then. There we go. Wrong one. There we go. Alright, so that gives me that, and then that might be easier if I just key it there. Alright, that's what I'm going to do. take that down. -2. Should be enough for that to ride on. And I don't want that, so I'm going to cut that out like that. Then, so right now, what I'm using is Shapebird 3D. It is... it's a parametric, no, not a parametric, Parasolid CAD design tool. So instead of having values that you can directly input, it's basically direct modeling with parameters you can input. It differs in parametric design in that you have a different design philosophy. With direct modeling, it's easier to make designs and generate things. With parametric modeling, it's easier to define and adjust values so you can rapidly iterate designs. Parasolid is very good. Essentially what I think it is like a sketching software. It's close to Photoshop, and how Photoshop is a raster design program, and you manipulate pixels, and your resolution is set to what it is. Parametric is closer to Illustrator, where you can, everything is based on math, and you can resize and adjust things. It may not be a one-to-one analogy, but that's how I understand it. And to that end, I do have Solid Edge, which is Simmons's CAD design program, which is what Shapebird 3D is using as its design engine. Oops. There we go. That makes sense. Stress. Yeah, I'll do it there. And then R26. Do 24. 15. Sketch plane 1. Going to bring that up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that. That key's in there, and then all I need is something. Take those two out. is the distance between this and this? 4. Perfect. That should set in perfectly there. Then what I need is just something to key in here. So yeah. Okay. What I'm trying to do is I'm just simplify how everything gets printed. And I want to union that. So if I do it this way, it still gives the spring the ability to move. And you know what? I believe I should cut that a little bit. Right, so it still gives room for the spring to compress. I should wonder if that'll work. So I'm thinking a circle might work well instead of and it won't let me do that. Okay, so we're just gonna knock it out. That would greatly simplify everything if that works. So we'll try it. Turn that off. Good. And I'm going to mirror this. Against this guy. Done. I'll take that and that. And I want to union it. Delete those. I need that. There we go. Again, chamfers make everything easier to print. 0.5. Turn that off. Turn this on. guy on. Turn that off. Yeah, this is a lens cap. So if you joined in later, what this is for is I have this guy. And when I bought it used, it didn't come with a lens cap, so I had to draw one up because I'd like to make sure that nothing hits the glass. And that is it. We are in business. I think that'll work better. It should work. Should work better. And so that these don't break as easily, I'm gonna add a radius. Radius 2. I'm okay with that. And I think that's okay too. Yeah, that works. So rename this. And lastly, what I want to do is where is it? There we go. And we do semi-bold. Done. So 62mm lens cap. Five. There we go. Alright. I'm gonna send this off to the printer. And it should be done by the end of this stream. So, that only took 30 minutes because I messed up the first 30 minutes. Whatever. We're gonna get into some post-processing. Export. Oops. Alright. Let's drop this guy and do this. Alright, there we go. Where's my lens caps? Lens caps. This guy is 62mm. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this up on the printer. And we're gonna come back here And we're going to go ahead and post-process a few other things. I think on the... Actually, let me take the calipers to that. So that's 3. And I think I should be okay. So the depth of that is like maybe 2 millimeters, and that's what I put it at. So hopefully I don't scratch anything on the 12 to 40. There it is. Oops. That's not PLA. It is Esun. PetG, no fan. I think it's Wallflow. That is the latest profile. Yes. Supports, blah blah blah. Good. Slice it, send it. Alright. Oh, it really should be done by the time this stream is over. Let's restart that. I want to upload and print. Alright. So I can close that, close that, close that, close that. I'm gonna bring this over so I can take this over. So that goes there. Give me a sec. I'm just reorganizing. Reorganizing it so that I have the chat window here. I can watch the stats on the YouTube Studio, and then I've got OBS on the side here. And then on my other screen, I have the print status and music stuff. Okay. Let me get this out of his way. Turn that back to wired. Let's turn this off. Alright. So, working. Working on another batch of 10. Oh boy. So, my niece was spending the night and she threw up. And I think it's a bug going around at school. So I'm not feeling too hot. Alright. So working on another 10. We're just gonna... So what I usually do is I batch post-process the front half, or the upper half. And then lower half is what I consider the mount part. That comes second because having that mounted only makes sense if I have the front half completed. And the prints have been coming off much cleaner, but you still see these like angel hairs or these wisps. And that usually just gets burned off. So just gonna burn away. Right, so back to Station 11. I'm doing a read-through of it. The novel the miniseries was based on, or adapted from. And I hear that there are major differences between the character relationships. I liked how they did it in the mini-series on HBO, but I'm sure it'll be just as good in the book. And I'm about 15% through because Amazon's Kindle tells me that that's how far I am. So it seems like a pretty breezy read. And I know on the old, or the last week's stream, I said there was something going on with the piezoelectric mechanism in here. I don't know, sometimes it gets loose, and it doesn't strike. I think I have to take a look at it. I'm going to take it apart, but I can't fully disassemble it because there's something blocking me from pulling out the striker, or this button. But from what I can see is there's a brass rod, and I think that's what holds the striking mechanism to get the spark to light the butane. So it works if I tap it a little. The brass rod in there will reseat, and then it'll give me the spark that I need to ignite the butane. But so far as I know, the wire, the mechanism itself is still good. It's just that brass rod that I need to take a look at and see why it keeps dislodging. Yeah, there we go. You know what's crazy is the amount of shootings in this week, or this week in California. So far, 2. both involving Asian American folk. During the Lunar New Year, and then one, I guess workplace related. But these dudes are like old fogies, right? They're like 50, 60, shooting up places. That's crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that brass rod gets it, like unlodged from where it should be, and then it doesn't strike. But yeah, bonkers. I think Monterey Park guy, 12 casualties and 10 injuries. Dude who stopped him was dude who stopped him was great. He's a hero, man. Took the AR style rifle away, and then the second shooting happened in Half Moon Bay or San Mateo or something. Dude got caught sitting in his car based off the description. I think one of the deputies down there identified him. They caught him, which is fantastic. But the wanton destruction of human life out there is absolutely bonkers. I don't understand why they choose to do that. Oh yeah. Definitely feel some sort of bug. So after this, I'm actually going to take a look at my inventory. I've got to make sure that I have enough to process and assemble. So what I need to do next after this is trim off any zits. This is to get rid of any leftover burrs from the supports that were printed, to make sure that I could do this overhang correctly. But this here is the aperture ring, and it's what allows you to... Oh, this one doesn't have it installed. Whatever. But it allows you to adjust the aperture. I was using the chisel earlier, and I managed to slice my hand a little bit. I need to hurry up and finish these so I stop maiming myself. So I was going to assemble some packages, some boxes, and I was cutting the foam, and I finally realized it's probably better that I have a glue gun. So I bought this guy here, and this is just your, general purpose glue stick stuff. It's fine. My concern with using that to adhere the foam together is that my dealings with glue guns has always been less than stellar. Right? They'll delaminate, but I mean, this one super good. Before I got the general purpose glue sticks, I picked up heavy duty glue sticks, and those things are actually something else. They are heavy duty glue. Quick setting, which is kind of why I had to stop using them, because they dry and adhere before I was able to get the foam together. But this general purpose stuff is good too. It has a longer pot life, so to speak, and it allows me to get everything squared up before pressing anything down. And if you were wondering how I cut the foam inserts, it's all by hand. I have these 3D printed templates that I need to print out again because they have been worked through quite a bit. But all I do is use those on top of the foam with this heated blade, and it cuts through the foam. Yeah, I should be moving faster on the template so it doesn't cut through the template itself. But for the most part, it holds up well. So I'm thinking on the next stream, I will be doing more assembly stuff, but I'm gonna open with some 3D scanning because I've been itching to get started with it. Give me a sec. I've been itching to get started with it, right? And I have a few projects that rely on the 3D scanner. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, this thing here, it says it's a vanishing spray that doesn't require cleaning. So I want to do some scanning with some firearm parts, and I think this is going to do well. I've got to make some new grips for a... So I own a CZ82, which is a... it falls under the Curio and Relics roster. It's the first ambidextrous safety and mag release developed by the Czechs in 1982 in response to Soviet Russia or the USSR requesting that they use the 9x18 Makarov cartridge. And for all intents and purposes, I think the CZ82 is the best firearm if you shoot 9x18 Makarov. It's a double stack 12 round 12+1 kickbacks. You know, it's all right. But I need new grips for it, and I don't like what's out there, so need to scan the body in, get real world dimensions, and then design off there, print, and then depending on how the filament print feels and responds to the violent nature of the explosion on the gun, I may cast it in a higher performing urethane. Though I'm not completely sold on casting high performance urethane. Oh, right. So I applied to a position in California. It's a multimedia coordinator. I am really looking. I guess I'm itching to get back out west. I think East Coast is fine, but the ability to find a burrito that matches, or how do I say this? Matches or exceeds what a mission style burrito tastes like, and the presentation of a mission style burrito is surprisingly hard, right? Like, I don't know. Mission style burrito, possibly one of the best culinary inventions from California. My friends, they joke that Chipotle is the best and they're innovating. But I always wonder, why would you make a burrito harder to eat, right? Why would you make burrito bowls? The burrito is the carrier of the food. Why would you make it harder to eat by adding a utensil that you need and then a container that you need to dispose of? You have tinfoil wrapped around the burrito and it's already there. But yes, I would like to make my way back west. Go west, young man, so to speak. There's a burger place in Sacramento that I actually love. It's Broderick's. I think it's somewhere downtown. But Broderick's has some of the best burgers I've ever had. There's a duck burger that is so good. So good. So, I'm wondering if anybody knows how I can maintain the colors or the saturation settings in OBS. So every time I log in or I turn it on, I have to adjust the Game Boy Color or the Game Boy, yeah, the feed from the Game Boy Advance, right? I'd like it to be unsaturated black and white so I don't have to always adjust it on the Game Boy. And every time I apply it and save it, when I turn it off, or when I close the application and open it again, the color settings are reset. I guess I'll have to look into it, but it's not too big of an issue. Speaking of big issues, well, my mind jumps from left to right. So the car I've been driving, it's a Lexus GX 460. It's one of the older ones, like a 2007, 2008. Wheel bearing is about to go out, and you can hear it like vibrating violently when you're at speed. And yesterday I was driving it. I could usually, you know, the steering feels solid, but for some reason, now this is a road I've driven down multiple times, and I'm familiar with how it feels, right, in the steering wheel. For some reason, it felt like the front suspension or the front steering was swirlier than it should have been. And generally, I like the way the GX handles. But I think the wheel bearing is on its last leg, and I need to take a look at it so I can identify what's wrong with it. I might have to take it in, or I might just do it myself. My buddy has one, and he had to replace a control arm or a CV axle, one of those two. And from what he told me, it was a terrible, terrible job. So I'm leaning towards just taking it to the shop because I don't feel like dealing with 2000s era Japanese mechanical engineering. Shocks, super easy. You know, brake pads, super easier. But having to take apart so many components to get to one part is not something I'm looking forward to. The weather here has been so strange. So sometime last week, it was hot and humid. Now it's cold and dry again. I don't understand why. I just want like a weather pattern that's predictable. Alright, I think that's good. I did a rewatch of Community. It's so interesting to see how strong the first 3 seasons were. Uh, 4, 5, and 6. We're all right. 6 is better than I think a lot of people give it credit. I am excited for the movie, the 6 seasons and a movie. Hold on. The focus. I'm too close to the microphone right now. Pop, 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 pop. The focus is incorrect right now. Just trying to get it back to where it should be. There we go. It is centered now. Ah. Going through changes. Huh. Let me check something really quick. I'm gonna try to get rid of that. Oh. It's not synchro scan, right? Okay, it is synchro scan. Alright, let me turn that on. Caught some flashing, and I don't know why. I think that should be better. Boom. Alright. So I'm gonna check the inventory. So I've got a spreadsheet that's located. Damn it. Located over here. Upper baffle. Give me a second. I'm gonna collect some parts and fire it up with the printers. So on these focusing grips, I think slowly been getting better and better TPU quality prints. I reduced the print speed, and that should improve print quality. Sorry, I'm grabbing some more filament so that I can dehydrate it or dry it. So let's see, what can you guys see? Over here is where I'm set up. Right, so this over here. This is where I handle all of my printers through Fluid and Clipper. One of the things I hate the most about Clipper or Fluid, I guess, is when you restart, it always starts at a different printer, right? So if you close the... Why do I have to restart? So if you close whatever you're using, right? Firefox, or whatever you want to use to manage what the printers, you always get stuck on the last printer you were on, right? So I've got 9 printers, and it'll always default to one of those printers. It won't log in, right? Each one has a unique address, but it still, for some reason, logs in to whichever one you were on last. It's kind of stupid. Oops. So it takes me a few minutes to get everything loaded. I wish there was a way to make it not do that, because I want to open it up and I want to be straight on to what the printers were printing, or the status of each printer. And I think this is probably the best way to manage multiple printers. I've only had one time where it's actually stalled out on me. And it's like, so I run on a Mac Mini, and I've only had one time where the Mac Mini crashed, or where the CPU or RAM consumption was high enough to actually affect anything. And I've slowly realized that I don't technically need an adhesion promoter like this guy. or a glue stick for PETG. PETG prints fine. It's super grippy. What I do need it for is it acts as a release film. So instead of taking the glass bed, it takes the release film, gives it or pops it off without taking anything off my glass bed. And I have this really messed up glass bed that I am going to keep as some sort of memento, or I'm going to call it like an art piece for my experience 3D printing on a farm. Like, I always thought people were joking around when they said their prints took out a chunk of their bed, but it happens more often than not. I've got to do maintenance on these guys this week. Gotta dust them, clean them, gotta check the condition of the nozzles, probably replace them. Midsection. That's the one I need to print. So that probably gives me 0 there, so I better print that too. Focus track's probably down to 7, so nope, I got it. Focus tracks. That's good. That's good. That's Canon stuff. Aperture tracks. Probably need to print some of those too, and I need more focus rings. But right now, concern is that I have no upper baffles. Oof. So give me a second. I'm gonna do a quick filament change because this guy is gonna run out if I do the print. So give me a sec. Oh, going the wrong way. So I had a clog. I don't know why. And this printer, number 3, Rogue 3, has been giving me issues with filament. So this shouldn't be an issue, but I've been getting jams in the Micro Swiss all metal hot end, and it's happening in the strangest place. Let me show you guys on another hot end body that I have. But it is the strangest clog that I've ever seen, because it shouldn't happen. Right? There's technically no way it can happen, but it does. Where are you? Yes. Okay. So while I'm waiting for the hot end to heat up so I can pull out the filament. So on the Micro Swiss, this is I believe a Mosquito clone. I have yet to use it. But I am probably going to uh, because I believe it takes thermistors that go above 300C. And I know the Micro Swiss does too. But I figured I'd try something out. But using this as an example, where did everything disappear to? Alright, whatever. So there's usually a captive plug up here, and or up here, right? So you stick your filament in, or your Bowden tube. There we go. You stick your Bowden tube in, and it should be flush on the bottom of this part here, right? So the jam in the Micro Swiss happens here, and when I pull it out, I'll get something like this, right? So it won't go in and it won't pull out because it's kinked like that for some reason. So let me show you how it looks by drawing it. That is a bottle of alcohol, or isopropyl, because I need to clean the resin prints with it. And it just works well enough to take permanent marker off the silicone assembly mat. But the clog that I get, so this is the top of the Micro Swiss. Right? And we're gonna just cut it off there. So it's like this, and then you have a narrow chamber for the filament. So, in theory, Bowden tube sits here, and there's no space right here. There should be no space for a clog, but there's enough movement up and down somehow, even with this captive nut, right? This fitting should lock the Bowden tube in place, right? So when you're retracting and then you're pushing filament through, there should be no up or down movement on this. But I guess there's enough movement that allows the filament to, or allows the Bowden tube to move up and then back down, or the filament moves forward, stops, gets jammed, kinks, and eventually clogs. And I've replaced this part multiple times, so I don't really know what the problem is. All I know is that it happens. And it happened again. So I've got to take a look at that this week so that I can fix it. But everything else has been printing pretty well. And since I am on the mic on the GH5, you'll hear me shouting a little, because I need to be heard. Oh, and I think I am going to put in the order for that that extra shelf. It's going to make everything easier. So I'll probably order it tomorrow. Hopefully it gets here over the weekend so I can do all the cleaning and assembly on the same day. So I can just maintain the printers and then Yeah, I mean, hopefully. There we go. All right. Awful copy. Did I not print it on this one? All right. So let's post-process some more things. One of the biggest challenges I had with this, or that I'm still having with this, is overall organization of inventory, right? So I've got these bins that I put all the parts in, but I don't think I have anything reliably to sort and organize them. And I think I need something like that. I need to figure out something. So everything gets printed and organized better. Oh, look at that. Oop. All right. Oops. I tend to chew on the filament once I do the filament change. Probably not good. I probably got a bunch of microplastics in me now. Alright. Oh, wait. Who's that guy? I'm trying to remember an artist. Singer. Yes, Bakar. Helen Beck. And for all the printing I've done, there is no easier way to print this. There's so much support needed. Because I'm okay with this surface not being entirely smooth because we have a lens face to cover it, but I can't have this dimension incorrect. That was just so wasteful. But I do have the injection molder, desktop injection molder ready. So I just need to make some molds, push some PETG through. I do want to look into filament recycling, right? So setting up a small recycling so that I don't have to send it off, and I can offer prints in recycled PETG, right? Because I mean, I only print one and it's black Esun Pegi, so I'm not mixing color additives, I'm not mixing anything else, different, I'm not mixing different materials, right, like ABS or Pegi or anything like that, or PLA, it's all Pegi. Shoot. Let me... I need to adjust focus point. Why is the stabilizer even on? There's no reason to have it on. Alright, whatever. That's fine. I don't care. I'll have it figured out. I just need to increase the focus point so that it's not so hunty, the autofocus. But I would really like a return out west. I think I'm done with the East Coast and the South. One of the things that bothers me the most about the Atlanta Metro is the amount of traffic. And hear me out. Everybody complains about traffic everywhere. Right? California, bad traffic. New York, bad traffic. Texas, bad traffic. Florida, bad traffic. But Atlanta is literally something else. They've got like... So the main, I think 85, 75 is 14-lane highway. So that equates to 7 lanes for each side. And it's always filtering, right? So there, without having driven in Atlanta for a while, there is no comfortable lane for you to sit and drive speed limit, right? Because every lane is the fast lane, apparently. Every lane is a passing lane, right? So you've got dudes like NASCARing it up everywhere on the 85, the 75, 285. Doesn't matter that speed limit says 55 or 70. Speed limit for the people driving here around me is 80 to 90, right? They're just zooming by. And, you know, it wouldn't be a problem if there was some semblance of rule on the road. But everybody just does whatever they want to do. And it's so frustrating, right? Because, you know, in my mind, I'm signaling to go to the right, and some dude's just zooming through, and I can't make my exit because some dude's just zooming by. And I was, you know, this is coming from Florida, it was somehow worse, right? In Florida, I literally saw somebody stop in front of an emergency vehicle, right? It wasn't a police officer, it was, I believe it was EMS or somebody with fire department. And the lights were, she was in the fast lane, they were in the fast lane, lights were on, right? She's ahead of the EMS vehicle, and she slows to a complete stop in the fast lane. She doesn't move over to the left shoulder. She doesn't signal to the right to let him get around. She stops in front of the car or the EMS vehicle, right? Nobody does that, right? You don't stop in the middle of the road for a cop. You pull over to the shoulder, right? And for emergency vehicles, you get out of the lane. I thought that was bad, and sure it is, but Atlanta's just, it's so, there are no rules. There's no rhyme or rhythm to what anybody does on the road. In California, at least there are some sort of rules, right? If you live in the Sacramento area, generally the 80 is, or no, the 5, right? Because the 5 and the 99 run parallel. The 5 is generally more slower. It's less stressful to drive on the 5 than it is to drive on the 99. On the 99, that's like a main artery that runs straight through Sacramento. So I mean, everybody's driving on that. Everybody's trying to get to where they need to go. But at least there's still rules, right? People still understand left lane passing, right lane, slow lane. I guess in this case, you know, speed limit, right? That's where I was. But in Atlanta, no rules. No rhyme or rhythm. And oh boy, okay, so it's even worse at the airport, right? And we all know we're not supposed to stop at the you know, the pickup area, right? We're not supposed to stop and wait, right? That's the rule. People are stopped there. They're stopped in the middle of the road. They're pulled over to the side of the road. They're blocking the arrivals. They're blocking the departures. It's like there are no rules. It's crazy. I was going to pick somebody up at the airport, and I had somebody driving on the freeway at 45 miles an hour with their high beams on. Right? So I go to pass them, and I find out they have their high beams on. I'm like, what are you doing? Turn them off. And this was a well-lit freeway. It was the extension to get onto or into the airport. So it was a small artery freeway. It's 2 to 3 lane freeway, right before the Hartsfield Jackson International. It's the worst part about Atlanta. But yes, I will be sending a follow-up to the position I applied to out in California. Trying to get back west, guys. So this this piece that I'm cleaning up, I had to do like a mild revision. You can see on this one, it has a beveled edge. I guess you can't really see, but there's a beveled edge on it because I was spending too much time post-processing this part, because it would always have like an elephant's foot, right? So it'd be slightly thicker on top, so I couldn't get the hood to fit, right? And this hood should slide right on. Let me clear this out. It should slide right on. But with that elephant's foot, that means I had to spend time cutting back the material, and come on. I mean, I still don't like doing it. But I think it is at a better place now. Oops. Alright. I've got to file the channel, but it's at a better place now than it was initially. I think there's some leftover material in there. But everything generally just fits better. So there's less time. See? Less time post-processing, more time assembling, sending things out. Ow. So I was looking at, you know, modifications or parts for this Kindle. This is a 7th generation Paperwhite. And these are so cheap. I think they're like $30 or $40 now. And I think I bought mine used for $75. But I mean, there's no reason to buy parts for this, right? Just buy another one. But I am probably gonna take it apart at some point. That's just how I am. But this thing is actually great. The Paperwhite screen looks just like paper. I'm sorry, the e-ink display looks just like paper. Makes reading graphic novels or books such an easy experience on the eyes. Look. It's so clear. I can't zoom in. Whatever. Oh no, I can. That's crazy. Alright. I love it. So, a few minutes before I end this stream, I'll show off the 3D printer, or not the 3D printer, the 3D scanner. And my initial tests with it, pretty accurate. It's just the materials that I was scanning, shiny and black, which doesn't get picked up well on the structured white light scanner. But I was able to scan colored objects well. I scanned one of my notebooks, and resolution was pretty good, detail was pretty good. Overall measurements, pretty accurate. They say this has 0.01 accuracy. So I mean, for what I'll be doing, I think that's good enough. Again, it's just this stupid spray that I need, right? ASUB 3D printing or 3D scanning spray. People on the forums, they use like Gold Bond foot powder or some sort of foot powder. I don't know about that. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just generally it's that I'm worried about functionality after after spraying it down. Like, I'd have to do a full clean, and I'd rather not have some residue left behind from the foot powder. Even though I guess, even if it does give me good results, I think the headache of having to clean it is more than I'm willing to endure than saving a few dollars using the Gold Bond foot powder. ASUB, that bottle, I think it was like $50. But if it does what I need it to do, then totally worth it. Alright, then we're gonna hit it with the file. Give me a sec. I'm gonna go check on the prints. That's good. That's good. What's going on with this TPU guy? That's not gonna end well. I don't think that TPU print's gonna end well, so I might end it soon. I'll check it in a few minutes here, but it was not adhering to the bed. And I haven't had to apply any sort of adhesion promoter, but I think I might, because TPU is generally pretty grippy on its own, so we'll see here. Oh man, I was having the strangest issue with the TPU printer. I mean, they're all Ender 3s, right? All roughly the same configuration, just printed at different intervals. or speeds. For some reason, and I have to imagine there's some sort of heat loss somewhere, but the issue I was running into is that the TPU would just stop feeding, and I assumed it was that there was some sort of heat loss at the hot end, because what happened is that I'd run the print, it'd start fine, but maybe an hour into the print, it would start jamming in the extruder. And to me, the only way that happens is that either back pressure is too high, so the hot end isn't extruding fast enough to keep up with the extruder. Or the hot end, there's a great enough temperature difference to where it cools off and forms a bead and doesn't feed through the nozzle anymore. And that shouldn't happen, right? Like, it shouldn't happen because I have no retractions, right? So there's no chance for it to cool off and bead. I guess it could happen with a back pressure thing, because if the filament's moving through or getting rammed through, it'll pool, I guess, if there's enough room for it to, and then it won't go through. I guess that's fine, maybe. But I think the heat there should be thorough enough to keep everything molten, right? It didn't really make any sense to me. So I took everything apart, I took the extruder apart, I cleaned it, I oiled it. I took apart the hot end, cleaned it up. And it works for the most part now. I haven't had a hiccup yet, except for this here with the bad adhesion. Alright. Oops. Oh, I should probably charge those because I need to do that. Wait, what is this? What is this? Oh. I guess I should adjust ISO for that, whatever. Oh, I'm at 2.8 right now. That makes sense. I'm actually happy with -1. -1 balance. Yeah. Oh. So I think I should have a working prototype of the drill driver by the end of the week. I've got, I'm working on something with my nephew. He seems to be interested in, I guess, mechanical design. So I had him work on I told him to download FreeCAD, watch some tutorials, and then we'll touch base this week to see how he's going. Right, but I should have a prototype, a working prototype of it soon. The only thing that concerns me is the amount of runout on this chuck, this universal chuck. So let me show you. Where is... Oh man, I hate this. I can't pull it off either because I'm gonna break it. So this is the universal check, the micro universal check. And it looks fine, right? It looks good. The jaws close down. But there is too much wobble because the tolerances on this, I guess, upper housing, the jaw, is way too much. There's way too much play in that thread, right? And then if I lock something down in it, that's too big. Right, sure, let's lock this guy in. It doesn't even help if I lock something down in the chuck, right? So it locks it down, but you can still see the run out. So if I hold it against that, you can see at some point it travels further and closer, right? So we're, yeah. So there's too much run out. I guess that's what I'm going to call it. But I don't know exactly what it's called, but tolerances means that it doesn't spin correctly. So I'm either going to have to find something or 3D print something so that I can get a working prototype, or an MVP as they call it, working. Because from the reviews I've read online on Amazon, most of them have that issue where there's significant run out, so that when you're drilling, it doesn't actually drill correctly, right? So you have you'll have issues drilling millimeter correct holes, right? Your drill bit isn't working correctly. So I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna leave you guys with this. It's so bad. God. So here we go. This is the file I'm talking about. So this is roughly the thickness of the lip on this hood. So if I sand it down or file it down, any rough spot should make that fitment better. Merp. Okay. Okay. How are we doing on that print? We are 50% of the way there. Let me check it out. Is that the one I needed to print? I believe so, yes. Yes. Okay. Alright, that's good. That's good. Alright. Surprisingly, the TPU print, the focus grips, recovered. It was only maybe a layer or two, so the stickiness of TPU saved that print. Excellent. Oof, there it is. Alright, at 7:50 here, I will take a few minutes to show you guys the 3D print or 3D scanner. I've read good things about Shining 3D. They're the ones who make the Einscan series. So what I have is the Einscan SP, and it is a tabletop scanner that uses structured light and a turntable to capture objects within a I believe 300 by 300 by 300 millimeter cube, and then you can extend its scanning capabilities by attaching it to a tripod and manually scanning things, right? So you have a manual platter or lazy Susan that should allow you to extend the capabilities to upwards of 1200 by 1200 by 1200 millimeters. There it is. Let's see how that works. Boom. Just some leftover material from this filing. Now it runs well. Should print a jig for this, so it makes holding it easier. I guess I could just get a vise. See how that works. Boom. Ah. Maybe I should do that. Ah! So the GH5 that I bought in rough condition, I cleaned the sensor, and turns out there's some dust underneath the hot mirror, or the anti-aliasing filter. I don't know how it got there, but no matter how much I cleaned it, it did not come out. So I'm kind of wondering if I can do that, because, well, I guess I'd have to make sure the environment I was working in was dust-free. But, I mean, it should be possible to do it myself, right? Because you can convert these guys to full spectrum IR by removing those filters, right? People have done it. So, I guess I should look into seeing if I can do it without being destructive to the housing. And if I can do it, I might. It's really a non-issue, though. I don't think it's significant enough, and it only happens when I stop down the lens to like 22 or 11, and a micro four thirds I'm not stopping down that much because I need as much light as possible. The only time is probably now, which I'm at f4 versus f2.8. Oh, speaking of f-stops, I'm trying to create one of the fastest, or I'm trying to get the fastest lens I can get, right? So there's Mitacon makes a Speedmaster 25 at f 0.9. So that's the fastest native mount, right? I can find. Nocton has one, and I think SLR Magic has a 25 f/95. But I've been looking at the full frame 35 f 0.95s and the 50mm 0.95s. And with a focal reducer or a speed booster, whatever you want to call it, I should be getting significant, maybe not so significant, light gathering capabilities, right? So with a 0.95, should make it a 0.67, 0.68. We'll call it 0.7. And I think that is significant enough. You know, you could argue that nobody uses a 0.95 wide open or a 1.2 wide open. They're usually better stopped down. But I mean, if I can find them for cheap enough, I'm definitely gonna pull the trigger on it, because it's something I think I will do eventually. Alright, we've got about a minute here, and I think I should be able to finish this guy. And then we can talk about oh, so the three scanners I was looking at initially was the Kindle, or not the Kindle, the Xbox Kinect, and like, it's okay. Like, if we're speaking realistically, it's okay. It's not the best, but I think it's somewhere to start. It might actually even be better to start with photogrammetry than a Kinect. But this structured white light scanner from Shining 3D is similar to the Kinect. It has 3 forward-facing cameras to detect the changes in light and stuff like that, depth, etc., etc. but the Xbox Kinect paired with Skinect, I mean, it's a simple enough, it's a good start. But for what I was needing it to do, I needed something with more precision and reliability to get dimensionally accurate scans, so that I can take those scans, put them into the CAD software, and reverse engineer the part, right? So I can take measurements within the program, and it should be dimensionally accurate to the real world part. Shoot, I almost dropped the lighter. But let me clear the table real quick. Okay, right. So the reason I'm building the Universal Chuck is that these guys here, they take proprietary drill bits, and I don't like that, right? That means I have to get specific drills for every single one of these, and I want to be able to go to the hardware store and buy off-the-shelf drills so that I can use them, right? If I need to, in a pinch. Or I can go into Amazon and purchase a set of drill bits and they'll work, right? I don't have to worry about compatibility. It might, the mass of the Universal Chuck might be a detriment, but I think it's good. I think the reason there is there to use it. All right. So this is the turntable for the scanner. It's got these targets that, in combination with the 3D scanner, it takes position, determines the coordinates, where it is in real life in relation to said turntable. This is the scanner, and let me detach it. So it's a relatively small unit, and my reasoning to get it is that it is a desktop, fully automated scanner, right? So I can just set it, and then it'll interact with the turntable, and it will do the job while I watch and manage the scanning software. But that is it. This is the SP, or the Einscan SP, and it should do the job that I need it to. And I will take you along with that in that journey on Thursday when we meet back. So we'll do some preliminary scans with the ASUB 3D scanning spray, so that we can see how it affects scans of black shiny objects, and that'll be that. So I will catch you guys on Thursday. I'm gonna finish packaging these lenses, making sure that they haven't changed their addresses, and ship them out tomorrow. I should have another batch ready next week to ship out, and then we should finish with this website orders in February, and then I've got to make sure I get back to the people on Kickstarter to get fitment issues, issues with shipping, and then the folks who didn't send in the survey in the first run, I gotta talk to them. Then the people who haven't responded to address confirmations, I'll check in with them again, and then if they don't reply, I'll just I'll send it off. But that's it for now. I am kind of excited for this next year because there are a lot of things that I want to do, and they are all within grasp, right? I just kind of have to commit and do it. So I'll see you guys on Thursday. Probably on Saturday. I don't think I have any. No, not Saturday. Probably Sunday. I've got to take a look at the car on Saturday. I'm really concerned that the wheel is gonna pop off. I'd rather that not happen on the freeway, so hopefully it's nothing. And hopefully I'm just worried for no reason. Alright guys, take it easy.